predictions. Yeah, check these out. John Frank with Jack Frank. Check out these info predictions. Yeah, check these out. John Frank with Jack Frank.
So how's it going, YouTube? We're doing our 2016 NFL predictions. Once again, I'm back here with my older brother, Jack.
How's it going?
It's going great. How you doing?
Not too bad. Just getting ready to give you some of my predictions out here in Nampa, Idaho.
All right. And I'm still back here in Santa Rosa, California, like before. But anyways, we're going to start with the AFC East. And every year, this is always the most obvious division because it's always the Patriots. I mean, even with that suspension to Brady in the first 4 weeks, even if the team goes like 1-3, they're going to win almost all the rest of their games anyway. So, yeah, the Patriots. And I have the Jets the wild card, and I think the Bills will fight, but they'll be third, and the Dolphins will be last.
Well, I have to say I completely agree with you on this one, Sean. Patriots to win the division. Main reason, no competition. Next.
All right, in the AFC North, this division's a lot more competitive. We saw the Bengals win it last year, but the Steelers were in the thick of it until the injuries they had. So I think this time the Steelers will take the division if they don't have these injuries. I think the Bengals are kind of on a downturn, but they're still going to have a really good team and be almost a wild card. And the Ravens will play a little better. I mean, 5-11 is bad for a John Harbaugh team, let's be honest. That's just insane. And the Browns will still suck, like they always do.
Well, I think the Steelers will take the division this year for the simple reason that their offense will outscore everybody. Even if their defense gives up a lot of points, their offense is probably going to average over 30 points a game. That offense is ridiculous. Le'Veon Bell's only out 3 games instead of 4, so he'll be back. And they've got some other pieces there that I think will be very well used in their offense. Baltimore, I think they're going to have another disappointing season. Of course, Cleveland, that's the Browns. And so Steelers take the division this year pretty easily, with the Bengals coming up behind closely.
All right, so next we got the AFC South. Last year it was clearly one of the worst divisions, but I mean the Colts had injuries that prevented them from going to the playoffs, and the Texans were barely good enough to take the division. So the division looks a lot tougher this year because the Jaguars have a chance to be pretty good, but we don't know that for sure. I'm picking the Colts just barely over the Texans. I was initially going to pick the Texans, but through a little further research, I decided with the Colts this time, with the Texans being right there in the thick of it. And Jaguars will try, but they probably won't do as good as some people say, and I think the Titans are still going to be bad.
Okay, well, AFC South, I have the Colts winning the division. I have the Jaguars doing better than the Texans in this division.
Wow.
But I think the Texans are pretty good. But brand new quarterback for him, brand new system. We'll see what happens. I might be wrong, but I think the Jaguars are on the up, and I think the Texans are on the down. Although they do have a good new running back in Lamar Miller. So Colts taking a division. Of course, that all relies on Andrew Luck and his health. If he is not healthy, then it's up for grabs. Anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely going to be a better division this year than it was last year. Then the AFC West, this is just an insane division. I personally thought it was the most difficult division to predict because the top 3 teams are all capable of actually taking the division. And while the Broncos while Peyton Manning has retired, the Broncos still made it and won the Super Bowl with subpar quarterback play because of that defense. So I am picking the Broncos to slightly take the division over the Chiefs, who will be a wild card. And I do think the Raiders are going to be competitive. I think they'll be in the heat of the race for pretty much the entire year, but I still got to see more from Derek Carr and that young team and see how much better they can actually get before I can say they'll be the best team. And the Chargers, I mean, they do have the best quarterback in the division in Phillip Rivers, but I mean, the entire team as a whole is definitely the weakest of them all.
Okay, so a little milk pepper. Sean. You are wrong.
I'm sorry, Mr. Sean, but the Raiders are going to win the division this year.
Okay.
And no, Phillip Rivers is not the best quarterback in the division. The best quarterback in the division is Derek Carr. The best quarterback in the division. Phillip Rivers has been very good for a long time, but his time is over, my friend. I have the Raiders winning the division, and probably about a 10-6 record. Raiders, huh, Bo? Say Raiders. And he said Niners. Anyway, so yeah, Raiders win the division. They got a strong team, much improved. The only team I see giving them any trouble is Kansas City. I do not see the Broncos doing anything in this division except for finishing in third, maybe even fourth.
So now we go to the NFC East, which just like the AFC South was among the worst divisions. Funny to say that because back in like 2007, 2008, those were the two best divisions. But yeah, last year was terrible for that division, but this year I think will be a little bit better because as long as Tony Romo stays healthy, the Cowboys should take the division. I mean, they pretty much won every game he was in, but when he was injured, they lost almost every time. So it shows how much of a difference that quarterback makes for that team. The Giants, I think, will be second, but they're gonna be around 500. The Redskins will be fighting with the Giants for that second spot, and the Eagles, I think they've kind of gone down a steep decline, and they're gonna be last. An update real quick. So I haven't had much time to work on this video. I had a lot to do over the past couple weeks. It was recorded a couple weeks ago. So because of Tony Romo injury, I'm picking the Giants to take the NFC East. And because of some changes in the Broncos, I am picking the, because they're putting in an unproven starter who only had a very few amount of snaps, they're going to lose a couple games they otherwise wouldn't have lost with a game-managing quarterback. But I mean, they have that great defense, so they still have a shot, but I'm giving the division to the AFC West to the Chiefs now, which will now allow the Bengals to make the playoffs as a wild card. And one of the reasons why I've been delaying, besides all that's been going on in my life while I'm trying to edit this video, is the fact that I'm worried about a false copyright infringement claim that I can't really do anything about coming from the NFL if I use footage from games, even though I have the legal right to do so under fair use. But so I'm avoiding that by putting more screenshots, putting more still images on there, and trying to add some effects that I hope you guys enjoy. I know they're really cheesy, but I hope you guys at least get a laugh or enjoy them.
Yeah, I got the Redskins to win the division this year. I think they have improved their team. Cousins, starting quarterback, bar none. No RG3 anymore. No backup story or anything like that. He's in Cleveland now, so I think the team's a little bit more complete than they used to be. Also, Alfred Morris went to Dallas, so they got Matt Jones running the ball by himself. So Cousins, Matt Jones, a bunch of good wide receivers, and a really improved defense, especially with the addition of Norman at cornerback from Carolina. I got the Redskins to the win the division.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable pick as well. I mean, Kirk Cousins, he was backing up RG3 for a while, but now that he has a starting job, he's actually doing fairly well. So let's see, the NFC North. The Vikings took the division last year, but I think a lot had to do with the fact that, yes, they improved. They got Adrian Peterson back, but also the fact that the Packers didn't have Jordy Nelson, and they still made it to the playoffs anyway. So I think the Packers will take the NFC North again this year. Vikings will fight very closely for them and take a wild card. The Bears, I think, are going to slightly improve but still be a losing team, probably because the Lions are going to be worse. They'll get a win against the Lions that they otherwise probably wouldn't have if Calvin Johnson was there.
I have the Packers to win the division as well. They're going to get back to their dominant ways. I don't see anybody giving them any problems at all in the divisions. I think Vikings will get the wild card out of this division. I think the Bears are terrible. I think the Lions are terrible. And I think the Packers are just going to run away with it. It's going to be no contest.
All right, so now we're doing the NFC South, and this division to me is really obvious. I mean, the Panthers ran away with it 15-1 last year, and they went to the Super Bowl, just lost to the Broncos. So I think they're going to run away with the division again. The competition there isn't really that strong. I mean, the Falcons are okay. The Saints would be better if they had a defense, but they just have an offense. And the Buccaneers, they could sneak in there. They are an improving team, so we'll see. But the Panthers should run away with this one.
Yeah, I got the Carolina Panthers to win the division this year. They're just the most complete team in the division. I think each team in its own right has good, positive vibes going on. But I don't think any of the teams besides Carolina has enough to win the division. Tampa Bay, up and coming, good team. Atlanta, average team. Saints, you really never know with them. They could be on the bottom. They could be on the top. They're probably going to be in the middle. So I got the Carolina Panthers to win the division. They got Kelvin Benjamin back. I think they take a step forward with their offense and maybe a step back with their defense with the losing of Josh Norman on the cornerback position. So I think, Carolina pretty easily in this division.
Yeah, pretty easily indeed. And then the NFC West, that should be a pretty competitive race between the Cardinals and Seahawks. I see the Cardinals taking the division again. And the Seahawks will be a wild card, but they'll be competitive for the most part. The Rams they'll try to fight for it. They might get a few surprise wins, but I don't think they're going to be in the running for the playoffs. And I hate saying this because even though I'm wearing the Raiders beanie, I do like the 49ers as well. And they just seem to not really have anything going for them at the moment. Their quarterback position's questionable, and I can't really name any players that could really, keep them in contention for that division.
So this division, I have the Cardinals winning the division. I think they are a very complete team. Great defense. They have a great defense. They don't get enough credit for that defense. And now I think that their offense is going to be pretty darn good, especially now that David Johnson will be the bell cow over there. He came on pretty strong last year once Chris Johnson got hurt. And he's definitely a really good pass-catching back as well. So I have the Cardinals to win the division. I definitely have the Seahawks coming out of that division as a wild card. Rams, we'll see how they do in LA for their first year in Southern California. I don't think they're going to have any chance of making, any waves down there in accordance to playoffs, but in the future, probably. They have Todd Gurley, one of the best running backs in the league, and we'll see how the new number 1 overall pick, Jared Goff, does from University of California, Berkeley. Also, 49ers. Well, they can't get any worse, so they're going to be improving. There's no way they can get any worse. They had the worst offseason in the history of football last year. This year, I think they're going to be a lot better, but obviously not enough to get anywhere. 49ers do have a new coach in Chip Kelly. His offensive schemes probably will fit pretty well with this team. Kaepernick is a read option kind of guy, which is Chip Kelly's kind of offense, so that should be good. But it might end up being Gabbert. Who knows? I just see them being better, but not good. So what are your wild card predictions, Sean?
Well, I have in the AFC, surprisingly, it's going to be the Jets and then the Chiefs. Because the Bengals will be right in there, but they'll be kicked out just a bit because of a loss to the Jets early on.
Yeah, in the AFC, I have the Bengals coming up behind the Steelers in the wild card spot, and I have the Chiefs coming up behind the Raiders in the wild card spot. For the NFC, I have the Seahawks coming up behind the Cardinals in a wild card spot, and I have the Vikings coming up behind the Packers in a wild card spot. Definitely more confident about my NFC predictions, but I think I'm pretty good with them.
Yeah, I got the same teams for the NFC wild card. Vikings and Seahawks easily. The NFC East and the NFC South don't really have very competitive teams in the, outside the division. So it's a pretty obvious pick for the wild card in the NFC for sure.
Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe to see more. Sorry about the long wait. I had planned to have this done sooner, but I had a lot going on, priorities. Plus, I end up spending more time on this because I couldn't actually use NFL footage without the risk of a false copyright infringement claim, so I had to put whatever I could in there to make up for it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video anyways, and stay tuned for more. #WTFU. Where's the fair use?